There's not a huge point in robbing Peter to pay Paul, so to speak. In other words, to kind of take wellness from one area of our life just to deposit it in another area. So that doesn't mean that we can prioritize things that are particularly important in a given moment, but it is important to keep, I suppose, an eye on that holistic radar. So just that sense of tuning in and detecting those various areas of our life that are important, so we don't become unbalanced or kind of skewed in the approach that we take. And we might think we're doing well by focusing on something that seems to be very important and giving it a lot of energy and attention. But the problem is not only might we be neglecting other areas, but we may actually not really fulfill even that one thing that we think we want, because most of the time, when it comes to many things in our life, it's a system that we're dealing with. So like working on the engine of a vehicle, if you get one part working really well, but you neglect to maintain the other parts, well, then even that one part that you get working well is likely to wear out much more quickly than it otherwise would. Now, of course, when you're working on the engine, you can and you need to maybe focus on one thing at a time. That's fine. But still, you focus on that one thing in the context of the other things that are there. And you also maybe move between those other things and give them attention to when they're needed. Now, this can sound like a lot of work, and it is a lot of work, but sure, what else would you be doing with your time? It's otherwise known as living, and that's part of the point, is to take a kind of a joyous, interested approach in having achievement in your life, but in a balanced way in the way you're defining it. Not to just do very well financially, but to completely abuse and neglect your health and your wellness. That's not going to really add up too well. Not to ignore relationships, but just be physically healthy. Not to just have great relationships, but maybe not fulfill that sense of purpose or meaning that you have in terms of your own interests. And again, we can see how these things might be connected, because if you were pursuing your interests, you might be a more interesting person to be in a relationship with. And also, you might feel better in that relationship because you would feel that you are somebody in it. Those things in turn might help inspire you when it comes to your health and fitness. So things like relaxing are really important, as are endeavoring to achieve things and make things happen. And when there's that sense of balance, all of these ingredients, they support each other mutually.